Vikaya, 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 Vikaya. Huy ya hu chi chui tang em, huy ya hu chi chui tang em, Kaya, Vikaya. Yakinya ya uchire, yakinya ya uchire, kaya abikaya,
James Cameron, you made Avatar. What is this for you?
It's amazing. It's amazing to be here because this is like a trip back through time. I mean, sure, there are a few little modern things here, but these people are living more or less, these Shikrin Kayapo are living more or less as they have for thousands of years here on the river, on the Bakaja River. And, you know, to be here, to be invited into their midst by them to participate in this fight against the encroachment of civilization, it's Avatar for real. Avatar is, the movie is the result of, you know, all my beliefs and all my concerns over really my whole lifetime since I was a kid. And, you know, the movie, I thought as an artist, the movie will be my statement. Maybe it'll raise some consciousness, maybe it can do some good. But what I found was it became this magnet for all these different groups who are fighting this fight for real, in the real rainforest, whether it's here, whether it's in India or in Indonesia, whether it's in Brazil, whether it's in Ecuador or Peru. And so many people have come to me and said, can you help? You've raised awareness. People are thinking about this now. What can you do? And I just realized that instead of a chapter closing, Avatar was just a chapter opening for me, you know? And instead of this being, I'm sure people will interpret this as some kind of opportunity, you know, like, well, I'm trying to make more money for Avatar. I don't need to make more money for Avatar. Avatar already got all the money, which is a measure of how much people around the world, you know, love that movie and care about the movie, care about the ideas of the movie. So quite the opposite. This is about a sense of duty. This is about a sense that having made Avatar, I now have a duty to put my money where my mouth is, put my ass on the line, and actually do follow up and try to make a difference.
We came here because our movie, Avatar, which has been so beloved around the world, is very much about reaching out to an indigenous a group of tribes who a corporation sort of literally steamrolls over to get something. And in this case, I play a scientist who falls in love with the Na'vi people, and I've had this amazing experience of being invited and hosted by this Kaipo village and a lot of the other tribes.
You know, let's use that to raise awareness, because the thing that protects the government and hurts these people is that they're able to silence them, marginalize them, keep them out here in the forest, away from the media, divide them one from the other, offer them money, pay them off, threaten them. In the case of some of the leaders that were here, that were actually threatened about this meeting, you know. So if the media can help, I think, you know, as people of conscience working in the media, I think we have a duty. I would reach out and challenge all the actors and filmmakers, producers in Brazil to say, hey guys, you're Brazilians, these people are Brazilians, you know, stand up and be counted.
Hey!
It's been a great honor and a great education for me, because you can't visit here and see all these huge families living off the river, fishing from the river, sustained by the river, and not be appalled, frankly, at what President Lula and maybe the next president, his protege, have as a vision for Brazil, because these people are Brazilians, and it just flies in the face of everything that they are. They deserve to be listened to. They're unique in the world. Their way of life is unique. They're considered very important by people in other parts of the world.
But I've, lived and breathed this for 2.5 weeks. I've met with everybody from top government officials to, people out here 150 miles from the nearest town. 10, 12 hours by river, by boat down the river to come here. And I've met with people, and I've heard all the different concerns, all the different visions on this. I've talked to scientists and environmentalists, talked to lawyers, I've talked to professors. I talked to Marina Silva, who's the Green Party, presidential candidate. Not sure if she's announced yet, but she will. And I've tried to really get the lay of the land and see all the forces that are at work here. I sent a letter to President Lula to ask him for a meeting, and also just an appeal to his heart, as a man, as a leader, to take another look at this situation. I know he's come out and he said that this Monte Dam is happening, but he's in charge. He's a leader. He can change. He can ask people to take a look at this. He can become a true hero, not only in Brazil, but in the rest of the world, as a leader who accepts a vision of change, where we solve these energy problems in different ways, where we use renewable sources, where we don't keep chipping away endlessly at our main asset, which is the health of this planet. And we figure out a way to live off the interest, not off the principle, because every time you cut down part of the rainforest, every time you dam a river, all of these things, you're chipping away at the principal asset of this world. And we've been doing it for a long time, and we're hitting nature's thresholds now, thresholds that we can't go back from.
I think if people in the world understood that they were doing this dam, Belo Monte, which won't even provide a lot of power in half the year, when there's so many greener, more sustainable ways of producing energy for such a magnificent country like Brazil, which is so blessed with so much sun and so much wind.
How this transformed you personally?
This has been such an amazing, transformative period in my life. You know, that where Avatar led to this, to meeting all these amazing people who are fighting for this cause in a number of different countries. I've met so many indigenous leaders, whether it's in North America or here in South America, and I've just seen, you know, the heart of these people and how warm they are and how beautiful they are and how attuned to their world they are and how much they care about, you know, the earth and the rivers and the wildlife, the fish. I mean, this is their life. They're much better stewards than we are, and they have a much greater wisdom about the natural world than we have. And I don't mean that in you know, mystical terms. I mean it in real practical terms. They know how to grow crops and support themselves without decimating the forest. They know how to take just what they need and give back what needs to be given back so that they don't destroy their world. We need to learn that lesson. So, you know, there are things that I came into this knowing, because I've done my research and so on, and I believe strongly in these things, and I have for many years. But the transformation for me is one from being an observer, being an artist, being a commentator, which is what artists do, to actually, you know, seeing that there's a responsibility to take action. We are at a milestone in human history right now. We are fighting for the survival of the human race, and more importantly, we're in an epic battle between visions of the world. On the one hand, the vision of the world that says that the natural world is there to be plundered. It's there to mine. You can strip mine it. You can blow the tops off mountains in Appalachia. You can cut down rainforests endlessly. You can dam rivers. You can displace or destroy indigenous peoples and their cultures in order to have the lifestyle that we enjoy in an urban technological society, so that we can drive our cars, so that we can have our computers and our widescreen TVs and all these things, competing with a vision of a preservation of the natural world, a preservation of a treasure that we will come to regret not having after the fact if we don't take steps right now. A vision in which we live in a sustainable, renewable way with our world and have the same intellectual luxuries that we have right now. But do we really need a bigger car? Do we really need another house? Do we really need a yacht? Yes, people need to be brought up out of poverty. That's very, very important. But we're not going to do it by just spending all of our capital, spending all of our fossil fuel capital, warming up the environment. All we're going to do is create pain and chaos on a worldwide level, and we're only postponing the inevitable by 10, 20, 30 years. And at the end of that time, when the check comes due, we can have a wrecked world. We'll have a wrecked world. So why not just accelerate the process? Pay the check now and not have a wrecked world and elevate everybody out of poverty. It's all doable. It's just a question of, you know, who's in charge and what are their special interests. You know, are we going to let the oil companies run the world? Are we going to let the mining companies run the world? Or are we, as a populace with a conscience, going to run our world and run it in a way that is good for our children or for our grandchildren? And the thing that we got to ask ourselves, this generation right now, my generation and the generations immediately behind me that are dealing with this issue, we got to ask ourselves one important question: what kind of ancestors do we want to be?
So it's particularly frustrating to see Brazil kind of disregarding their way of life. And I think we all want to do whatever we can to help get the message out about these dams, because they're not even green energy. They're old-fashioned 19th century energy. In North America, we're getting rid of some of our dams. They're just, it's terrible to sacrifice these people, this river, and this country's riches and the rainforest, which you see behind me, for a little electricity. It's not even efficient.
We will carry your message back home and also do whatever we can to share your message with whoever we meet in Brazil, so that you can have a true meeting and move us, the world, into this century with new solutions to energy problems which work for everybody.
What we're going to do now is we're going to continue to try to raise consciousness through the press, through filmmaking, and we're going to, I personally am going to assist a number of organizations that I've now been involved with over the last couple of months, like Amazon Watch and ISA, Koyabi, the dam affected people and so on. And I'm going to try to assist them in their fight, in what they've been doing now for 20, 30 years, some of them, in supporting these indigenous people, giving them a voice, giving them some legal representation, and trying to create a dialogue with power. Because you have to have a dialogue with power, but you also have to have an awareness of the public. Because the power interests, whether it's government, whether it's industry, whether it's banking, they're not going to change on their own. These guys are too entrenched in the way they think. They're only going to change if the public is looking at what they're doing. So what we need to foster here is more transparency in the process, meaning that they don't do things in an underhanded fashion, that the public has a proper review of this, that the public understands the issues. If the public understood that the power from the Belo Monte Dam is not going to Sao Paulo and Rio and the other populous areas in the southeast, that it's going to aluminum smelters here that are owned by international corporations, that this big power utility that's subsidized by the Brazilian taxpayers is going to be generating energy that goes to a very, very power-intensive industry that doesn't make very many jobs, which is aluminum smelting, and that the profits of that are going to go offshore. I'm sure everybody in Sao Paulo is thinking, hey, we need dams, we need power, we keep having these blackouts. Well, you're not going to get the power from this. This is going to special interests, and the money's going offshore. It's not going to benefit you guys, and it's certainly not going to benefit these people right here, who are going to be directly impacted by the dam. So the important thing here is raise public awareness, not in Brazil, and raise public awareness internationally.
Tudo será destruído logo. O que mais o governo quer? Para que mais energia com tanta destruição? Já fizemos muitas reuniões e grandes encontros, como em 1989, em 2008 em Altamira e em 2009 no Piaraçu.
Because the Belo Monte Dam is just the first of many. There are 19 or so major dam projects that are queued up behind Belo Monte.
Que sem essa floresta, muitos povos irão sofrer muito, porque tudo está ligado, como estão ligados todos os nossos rios, como o sangue que une uma família. O mundo tem que saber o que está acontecendo aqui. Percebemos que destruindo a floresta e os povos indígenas estarão destruídos. O mundo inteiro. Por isso, não queremos Belo Monte, pois Belo Monte representa a destruição do nosso povo.
And the interests you know, the big utilities and the construction companies and the banks that want this to happen, they want this to happen as bad as we don't want it to happen. Why? Because it's going to be the precedent for how this is done in the future. It's going to be the mold. You know, this is how you fight it. I mean, this is how you suppress the voice of the people who are directly involved, how you pay them off, how you mitigate. You know, how are you going to mitigate this? How are you going to give these people some other version of this? This is where they live. This is their life. They've been here for 1,000 years. So how are you going to mitigate that? You know, with money? You know, as Chief Seattle said, you can't eat the money. These people live from the river. So, you know, by raising public awareness, you know, we expose a process that is an incorrect process. Every project needs to be looked at in terms of the social and economic benefits weighed against the environmental impact and the direct and indirect effects on the people that live in the region. Does it benefit the people locally more than it hurts them, for example? Is it a sound project? Belo Monte is a dumb project. It's going onto a seasonal river. It's rated at 11,000 megawatts, but it's only going to produce 2,000 megawatts for a good portion of the year.
What are you going to say to Lula?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be granted an audience with Lula, and I don't know him, and I'm just now learning his kind of his policies and so on. And he's been amazing for this country. He's done some amazing things for the economy in this country. He's really lifted 20 million people or so above the poverty line, and so you know I respect him as a leader, but I would appeal to his heart and to his conscience as a man, and I would say, come down here, meet these other Brazilian people who don't sit in an air-conditioned room someplace and fly them into you in their quaint tribal regalia. Come down here to where they live. Listen to their concerns. Truly hear them. Or as, you know, we say in Avatar, you know, see them. You know, see them for what they are and who they are. These are Brazilians too. They had a huge meeting here today of tribal leaders that had come in from all points of the compass at huge expense, spending 3, 4, 5 days on the rivers or on the roads to get here. And it's all river, the last part of it, because we're way up in the woods here. And you know, these people came here at great expense to have this meeting because it's so important to them. And how did they start the meeting? By singing in the Kayapo language the Brazilian national anthem. They're part of Brazil, and he's their leader. And they look to him for some kind of clemency, I guess, really, is how they view it at this point. Because they feel they've tried everything, and they're desperate.
In your heart, do you feel this dam is going to happen?
Look, I use the example of the boa constrictor. You know, civilization just slowly constricts the natural world. And every time the people who defend the rainforest or defend indigenous rights breathe out the littlest bit, it tightens up. Then they breathe out again, it tightens up some more. And pretty soon that process, what happens at the end of it? Boa constrictor wins. And this has been inevitable throughout history. If we're going to stop a project like this, we need to, as a global civilization, we need to wake up, like we're showing in Avatar, a change in perception, a change in consciousness. We need to wake up. We need to drive a stake in the ground and say, this is the defining battle right here, because it affects everything. It affects indigenous rights. It affects global warming. It's an international and a local and a regional and a national story right here. And I can't think of a better place to stand and fight. I didn't answer your question.
Dude, look at Antonio's style, man. He's got the predator photographer. Exactly. Crouching tiger. All right, team, we got a long journey. Vamos, amigos.
Yakinya ya uchire, yakinya ya uchire, kaya abikaya, wispuchi hitangem, wispuchi hitangem, kaya abikaya. Mina cần tu yu ha te, mina cần tu yu ha te, mina mun tung ta kuma, mina mun tung ta kuma, nunca hukum kam te yan, ya hin ut patangom, ya hin ut patangom. Wangkanu, imaka ubukui, tu no tem bahaku, mi no tem kum, kamwa vatikyam, kamwa vatikyam, vikaya. Quy nhà ô chi chuyết tăng em Mina ca hương túc mà mà Và xa nên tem sơ mà Tiêu sơ hương em kim Cha bằng cây đi xa mà Hấu cha mà hụt sa ang kim Ya bơ cơ vàm Nu nương tem quá hà cung mi nè nương tem yam mi nè nương tem yam tiêu sa ga niên ki ga ngoại ba ti kyam kam vikaya Huy nhà u chi truy tăng em, huy nhà u chi truy tăng em, kaya abikaya. Yakinya ya uchi dem, yakinya ya uchi dem, kaya abikaya. Wispuchi tăng em, wispuchi tăng em, kaya abikaya. Mina cần tu yu ha te, mina cần tu yu ha te, mina mun tung ta kuma, mina mun tung ta kuma. Nunca hukum kam te yan, ya hin